My birthday tonight. Oh, pure belligerence. I'm sitting here in the darkness, because black people like to wake you up in groups. You too comfortable and make you sit in the rain for 3 days. But otherwise, they don't fuck with you. That's the logic of African Americans in this city, specifically the ones keeping 24/7 surveillance of white people out here. You know, I've been here for 2 years. I stretch my legs, and it's continued. There's a coordinated effort to stop me from stretching and laying down horizontally, even unseen by the public. They take it to themselves to bring 6, 7 motherfuckers, illegal weapons, right? Illegal weapons, handcuffs to just get me up. Isn't that some racist shit? Isn't it some weird ass shit to have 24/7, every 15, 35 minutes, have a black security guard walking around this Battery Park community? It's kind of suspect, B. It's not funny. It's not good looking. And then during the day, they changed their tactics. You know what they said today? No, that we're not taking pictures of you. We're taking pictures of the area. Because I fucking blew him the finger. I said, suck my dick. Take a picture of my dick from a distance, nigga, like that. I took it to him, I stopped that shit. Stop it. Get some help. Get the fuck out of Battery Park. It's all white community, baby. But they're trying to negatively gentrify this motherfucker, like they're trying their way by putting people so awkward, right? Making people feel so awkward here in Battery Park, they move out and head elsewhere in which they're not gonna have an issue, like with 24/7 surveillance. We're talking about 24/7 around the clock. You got motherfucker with a phone ready to take your picture. The fuck is that? Anyways, so what I was saying, well, where was I? Where was I with this bullshit? Oh yeah, so we're gonna talk a little bit about what's happening in California, right? That's how Civil War #2 starts. That's exactly how it is. It starts at immigration. It starts at immigrants taking over cities, immigrants thinking that they run shit, minorities thinking that they could relocate the population. I said it today in the morning, right? Didn't I say it live on stream? That blacks is cornering whitey out here. They cornering us. They taking over. You got to cut the cord on HRA. You got to stop them from migrating here. You can't just deport Mexicans. You got to deport Africans. You got to deport anyone else that doesn't belong in that list, that is not naturalized, that was not born here. You got to let them go. You got to find them and kick them out. Because if not, they're going to drive white people the fuck out of New York City. And it's already happening. These people is coming from Atlanta to do this. These people is coordinated as fuck, and they helping minorities take over. 100%. It's not a game. It's not a game. And then once you see what they do when supermarkets become black, it's nasty. It smells. Shelves are empty. It's like a COVID 24/7, right? Like no supply of things. Everyone's getting whatever they want to their home and try to survive with that. That's the environment that they create. It's definitely not Caucasian. And it's coming from the north. Basically, Battery Park is the last tip of the iceberg before falling. And you could tell that everyone is being cornered to a real specific area, right? Brooklyn is on the south of Manhattan to the east, right? Brooklyn is on that corner. Guess where the whites are? Dumbo, right? So you got Dumbo. Dumbo is a white community and it's squeezed in. And behind it, it's the worst of Brooklyn. It's the worst. It's the most dangerous area. All of it is dangerous area. Long Island, full of blacks coming south from Yonkers in excess, right? Minorities in Manhattan, Mexicans, Hispanics and shit, pushing them down. And they're all the way at the bridge. They're at the bridge, B, to Staten Island. They are at the bridge to Staten Island already. Battery Park is a remaining capsule. It's a white crib It's the remaining, it's a white stronghold when everything else is either tourist or black or Hispanic. It's serious. And then you put yourself in that position, having 24/7 surveillance, and you live here paying $4,000 a month, and your picture's being taken in the afternoon. What the fuck is that? Right? And those same people in the train, right, over a picture, they get stabbed in a subway train today. A black guy stabbed a Mexican like 5-6 times in the thigh and the abdomen. Luckily, it wasn't the liver side. The motherfucker went at him a couple times with that poker, poked him a couple times. So that's how ravenous, that's how crazy the city is. That's why I go nowhere in the city and I stay in Battery Park. That right there is evidence, you know? I'm not gonna go anywhere else. Why the fuck am I gonna go into Manhattan? Why the fuck am I gonna enjoy the city if I know that the majority out there is tourists and the real citizens is just black and Hispanic? So we're gonna get to Civil War II. How is it gonna start? Like a Call of Duty, like a Call of Duty game, like a storyline. How is it gonna start? Immigration. People rioting, taking over, disturbing traffic, disturbing government, disturbing regular civilians. You can't get to your job, right? People traveling to riot, minorities or some rebels traveling there until California takes care of them, right? And hopefully, right, a militarized state happens in which, luckily, by default, California turns Republican. And guess where they're going? Guess where all those Mexicans and all those black people in California is going? They're coming here. They're coming here. So the goal of Civil War II is to encourage not north to south migration, south to north migration, south to north migration for African Americans in California, but force them south of the dead center, east to the dead center of Texas. Basically, Houston that way. In some areas in which they're not going to be able to take over, like the South. So we're technically talking about North Carolina, DC, and everything, all minority, and Florida. Basically, the South would be a West stronghold. Florida is 100% dominated by minorities. So Florida is a Civil War objective, and then west to north into DC to get rid of the vermin, to shoot to kill. And I'm talking real radical here. But that's going to be Civil War II, because there's no other way to escape mass invasion. There's no other way to escape. There's no other way to escape the home that you lived in, where you live, from people, from the demographic changing and replacing you altogether, for denial of service. It's happening in Battery Park today. A man, the Jamaican guy, the Puerto Rican guy that was there, attempted to deny me service. He attempted it. He attempted to deny me service. You know what he did, right? He delayed. I was about to swipe my EBT card. Before I got there, he said, "Yeah, you got your card, right? Yeah? Check if it works." He knew it didn't work, but he took so long to open the next cash register, as opposed to how they always do it. I felt denial of service. I felt my canceled subscription, thanks to minorities, right, and blacks at Planet Fitness. I felt the same energy in which they make you swipe your card 6-7 times, canceling your order, because they don't want you to be a customer. They don't want you to buy your food. They want to keep your food. They don't want you to eat. You see what I mean? They don't want you to eat. This is my birthday stream, Pete. And this is what these people do to you. Once they take over, they realize you're the minority. They realize that that white people is not from, that is not the main demographic. And it turns to 1940, with black delis and diners and white delis and diners and no pies for niggas in the motherfucking white deli, in the white diner. They start doing exactly what happened in 1941 here in the city, and I am witness and testament to this. Denial of service, canceling the transaction to make you swipe again and again and again and again, like to make it seem that you have no money in the card. You see what I mean? Or canceling your Planet Fitness subscription over bullshit, just the same way like canceling your card to stop you from not getting a Gatorade. And this is what they do. So let's continue talking about civil war. What has to happen to get rid of the oppression? What has to happen to get rid of all these people that should not be in America? You got to kill them. Once it gets to civil war, it's going to be Americans versus motherfucking migrants and minorities. It's going to be people that are 100% democracy or whatever, brainwashed into grabbing a gun and looking to fight the government, just like you see in California. And you see in California is the beginning, just like Civil War Volume 2. It's identical. California has to get rid of the problem and push them east. I need the military to stay on the streets long enough so that these people leave to New York. Because they say, I want people to voice out there, no, that New York is democratic and they're never going to do this in New York. This is never going to happen here. This and that, this and that, this and that, until they leave. And ta-da! Elections, 4 years later, 6 years later, boom, California is now a red state. That's a big demographic change. You see that? And then all the way that way, we start pushing minorities and illegal immigrants and blacks into one corner, and then you slaughter them. And I'm not being racist with this, but this is what's going to happen. This is the direction, and I'm a doctor. This is the predicted future direction of the country. If these people want to invade your land, if these people want to replace the demographic, if these people want to take where you live and take everything and throw you out in the house or scare you when you're trying to buy groceries with your 5-month-old or with your 5-year-old son in the cart, they're going to end up leaving because they don't like them. Regular white people don't like black people, especially when the environment is tense, when it's hostile, when there's mean looks, when there's some form of intimidation while they're shopping for food. When that is the real problem. Once they take over, there will be no food. There will be no food. The reason Target and Whole Foods still has food is because there's still some white people out here. But once they turn it into the Whole Foods black version or volume Negro, it's going to be empty. There's not going to be anything in there. They're going to either steal it, and it's going to be like a quick draw, just like the Walmart in Long Island. The closest Walmart to the city is empty, and it's full of blacks. They're going to do exactly the same thing. So they're moving south, right? These people is moving south. These people is pushing whites, right, into corners, Williamsburg, really tight into the old ones, the remaining old ones into Central Park properties, right, which is real expensive property, forced people that lived in Brooklyn into Dumbo, people that were in Manhattan into Battery Park, which is now affordable. And this is the great replacement in play. This is what is happening and will continue to happen until there's cable cutting, HRA, the people who is hiring these people to get all these jobs, the people who is housing these people to give them a place to live. The stamps could stay. I don't have a problem with food stamps, but I have a problem with communist-style free jobs, revolving door of employment, and I got a problem with shelters, right, which are all for minorities or blacks in the first place. Those are programs for African Americans and minorities, and they're not for white people because they assume that you are crazy. You go pop pills to a doctor, they start doing things to you over there. So those are the 2-3 main things they got to remove out of here. They got to absolve NYCHA, no housing, right? No housing because it's theirs. It's for an African. It's for an African American. It's not going to be for a white family. It's only going to be for a Hispanic family. No shelter, right? So that they can't transition into a job or etc. And no job. They have to cut the communist style democracy way of saturating the job market with African Americans. So that everywhere you go, there's more than 80% under EEOC guidelines, employment commission guidelines in what they're not supposed to do. It's supposed to be 50-50 of every race. You know what they got? Way over 80. Everyone's black in these places. Why? Because they're franchises, because they make the rules, because HRA, if you fire them, they put them right back. So that's the future. The future here is the West has to turn Republican. Minorities like Mexicans out there, like people who, the Venezuelan, the people that came off the boat, off the border, realize that California is a no-go zone for them. They get afraid because of ICE and deportations. They end up in the city, and then we have a little sweep, and it gets violent. There's a pistol involved. There's firearms, a couple skirmishes with firearms between, military, police, and minorities, and you get the Civil War. You get a Call of Duty server, a whole motherfucking, how do you call it? A whole motherfucking storyline in how this started. Weak borders, and this is all over the globe. This is what is happening to the entire planet. That's what people got to understand. That, but other countries, nah, they've been replacing the current demographic. They've been replacing the current demographic since 1994, right? We're going to take, for example, Puerto Rico, right? Like I said this morning, 1994, Puerto Rico was majority white or redskin. There was no blacks involved. There was no Dominicans involved. The elementary school that I went to was everyone white and light-eyed. Not a single black person, and maybe some redskins, because there was a lot of redskin out there. We're talking about Native American culture. Taínos, Arawak Taínos were red, just like regular Native Americans. They were red. They were actual redskins with straight jet black hair. So we were whites, light-eyed, blonde hair, light brown hair, and red skin. You didn't see any black, any Dominican, any Haitian, any African American in that group until way later. By the time I was in 6th grade, the demographic changed entirely. Why? Because Dominicans started flooding the country looking for naturalization. They started flooding, and then you go check every high school now in PR and see the demographic. We went from blonde, light blondes, light-eyed people, white, Caucasian people. We're talking about pale Hispanic motherfuckers, to straight brown and dark. No red skin, just dark. And years now, since then, 20 years since then, 30 years since then, they're getting even darker. It's just darker people over time. Darker and darker and darker and darker. And you ask, where's the white people? Right now, right? You go to PR right now, you see some person that you think is Hispanic, and you ask them, hey, where you from? You from El Monte? You from Coamo? You from Ciale? Right? You're a redhead from El Campo. You have blonde. You have a really beautiful mom, right? No, I'm from Denmark. I'm Danish. I'm from Belgium. I'm from this and that. So they replace the entire demographic, and what they do to Puerto Ricans is even worse. Not only do they invade the country based on weak immigration laws in millions, not in six, like Puerto Ricans reported, 6,000 illegal immigrants are in Puerto Rico, and ICE is looking for those addresses. Nah, millions, millions naturalized, to the point that Puerto Rico doesn't even have a sport. Puerto Ricans can't even compete in sport. Why? Because they have all these foreign illegals ready to play ball, Cuban, Dominican, Latin American, and all they want to do is race that flag and get that clout. Not even Puerto Ricans you can't even excel in sports. If you have a dream in sports and PR, you're competing with a foreign national who's being fed, clothes, free food, free shelter, and once you are pro, they'll replace them with you. You could be pro, but you best bet you're not going to get the support that you deserve, because someone off the boat that just got here yesterday is going to get that fame and fortune. It's going to raise that flag. It's going to go to the NFL. It's going to go to the MLB. It's going to go to the motherfucking NBA. This is what these people do. They take over and they change the demographic entirely. You see how Puerto Rico went? We're getting darker NPR, darker. And we were light blonde, light-eyed, blonde, or redskin, real redskin. Those were the two main demographic types, nothing in between. And then poof, both of those races are gone, and Perencejo y Cetejo now within the island raising kids, right? They all left. They made everyone vanish. They stole everything. They stole land. They stole property. They bought cars at discount to resell at wholesale. They did whatever the fuck they could to make sure that people left or died. I don't even have a family because of those people. Because they want your wife too, and your car, and your job, and everything. And they have dual citizenship. They're from somewhere else. You know they're from somewhere else. And that's what they're doing here. That's exactly what they're doing here. They're replacing instead of Puerto Ricans, right? In a micro, right? Micro economy, not a micro economy, macro, yeah, macro, micro. Instead of macro, micro, they're replacing the demographic and are pushing the Caucasians to corners, battery, this and that, and making it uncomfortable for you to cross the street, making it uncomfortable for you to go to Chambers Street. Uncomfortable. You don't want to be stared at. You don't want your iPhone to be ripped from your wrist. You don't want your clothes to be slashed. You don't want to be stared at shopping with food. You don't want to feel black on white tension. But this is what these people is doing out here. This is what these people is doing. And you could tell based on where whites like to live, how divided and how these pockets of Caucasians are within Manhattan. Williamsburg, Battery Park, Dumbo, some other unknown colony, maybe Prospect Park, right? Some area within Prospect Park, some specific area within Brooklyn, maybe the Jewish community, and that's it. Everything else is either black or Hispanic. And you could tell just by looking at the MTA, just by taking a sample of the population and sitting all day in an MTA train and decide how much of a real demographic is in the 5 boroughs. You know, sit all day on the 2 train, sit all day on the 5 train, and you'll see that it's all Hispanics and blacks, very little Caucasians. And this is going to end up in a civil war. It's going to happen. It's going to happen because these people are not going to stop coming here. They're not going to stop trying to replace you. They're not going to stop the denial of service. They're slaves because they're literal fucking slaves. You know, a revolving door for jobs is a communist way of giving you a job. That's the way they saturate the market with their people. That's the way they think they're successful with government programs, and they end up making it real uncomfortable for you to be here until you're gone. They assault you, they beat you, they modify your teeth, they assault you without provocation, they sexually assault you, they harass you in a park at night, being guards of a white community. They'll pick 100 ways to make sure that you are not welcomed in this city. And they're all black or Hispanic. And this is what's happening to Manhattan. And you could tell the current offensive in California, in the future direction, in the real way that you could deal with this. Not let them march, put a chopper on their head, gas them out, get them scrambling. Cut down the internet in California right now. Snap the finger. Shut off electricity. Shut off electricity and shut off internet capacity so that they can't use the phone and say, this white cop shot me with a rubber bullet. That is racist as fuck. So they can't be doing that. And you'll see that if the pressure is strong enough, they'll end up in the city. And if it does escalate to violence, it's going to be a west to east, and the West is going to win. The West is going to have California. The West is going to have all of the South, in which they migrated. They left those areas to be up here. You see what I mean? Atlanta, South Kakalaka, Tennessee, they left. You know, those people is American as fuck down there in the South. They just not like the black up here. Those people is nice. You see, the big distinction on the type of black. Up here, the African American is communist. It's everything free on a table. It's a government slave. If they put him, if they make him pick cotton, he's gonna go pick cotton. Dead ass. If this was farmer activity and it had 8 million people like it did, and there was a program to go pick cotton and strawberries, there'd be niggas out there, B. There'd be niggas out there, B. They fucking government slaves. Revolving door. It's not a game. That's the only way they saturate the low-level job market with African Americans or minorities. It's the only way they're able to do it. It's through the government. Without that, they got to compete. They need a resume. They need experience. They need an interview. They got to do this. They got to do that to then get a job weeks down the line. Weeks down the line. Not the way that it's done here. Because the way it's done here is quick. They'll saturate the market in 10 years. They'll replace a demographic between black to white, white to black in less than 10 years. And then democratic immigration policy continues shifting the demographic until all you got is Hispanics looking for white women. That's all you got. You're going to get another example, PR part 2. A macro this time. Instead of micro, because back then PR didn't have 1 million people, 2 million people in the island. In 1994, 1 million and some change, right? And then what? And you're gonna get us a bunch of Hispanics, a bunch of blacks, and women just wanting black men and Hispanics. You can tell they don't want white kids. They don't want them, and they're ashamed. They're like they want to keep it private that they are interracial. They want to keep it real private that they're interracial. It's not a game. This is what's happening in this city, B. That's not laughing matter. It won't be laughing matter once the army's up in this motherfucker. Once the National Guard is up in this motherfucker. Once they release Marines in New York City. Once there's Marines in Fifth Avenue and in Broadway. Marines, actual Marines, controlling the million fucking immigrants and blacks that want to challenge democracy. It got to stop. They got to give it up because we're going to win. We're going to win. And in a civil war, the president, offices, Congress, everything goes. Everything goes. A great reset. That's called, in a civil war, a great reset. You see, the scales are tipping so bad against regular Americans that minorities are going to take over completely, including government, everything. If it were for them, Congress would be all black. And that's why they're trying to impose term limits, right? You see the term, have you ever heard of the term limits term? Oh, no, they cannot be there their whole life. Why? So that they can elect black constituents and make a whole black Congress against a single black president, a single white president. They're trying to do that. They're trying to do that. You see what I mean? This is what's happening in this country. And it's going to end up in violence. I pray to God that as I get older, when I'm in my 60s, and I'm a Democrat, but with my Republican conservative values start coming out, and I see people getting shot in New York City and people getting slaughtered, and I go back into being a hick, into being a Native American, right? And I go back into, I don't know, surviving, doing how I do without getting a bullet in my chest as a real American, right? Born here, not wanting to be something else, that they win. And they take everyone out and we start over. And then we're going to be great. Then there's going to be no more immigration. Then there's going to be no raw demographic shifts of population. Then we're all going to be American again, and no more problems. No more problems, because the problem is stopped by having really strong immigration laws. In a micro scale, you could tell that their relationship between Dominican Republic and PR got rid of people, got rid of generations of Redskins that lived there for hundreds of years, generations of whites, beautiful Puerto Rican people, gone, mixed forever, interracial, destroyed, done, never to be seen again. Why? Because you can't control people from flooding your country, because you can't stop them. What the fuck you gonna do? That's the only way. That's the only real solution. The only real solution is wait until they pick up a gun, they pick up a rifle, a soldier gets shot, and the party starts. And then it's more people, you know, like I need all these minorities here on the East Coast to arm up, to suit up, the government encouraging violence, right, to stop the Western Front, right, the Western coalition from taking over the White House, because it's gonna happen. They're gonna split. This country is gonna be split down the middle, and it's growing, and that prediction is growing faster than ever. If you don't control immigration. You got to get rid of at least 2 million people in New York City. At least. We're talking about sons and daughters of an illegal immigrant out the window. Everyone, the fuck out. I'm an American. I was born in PR. You know, I'm supposed to be here. My beautiful people should have still been in PR. I would have found a real beautiful fucking Puerto Rican girl by now, white, as beautiful as I am, which I was a fucking 10, married and had more beautiful white kids. Well, what happened? They all went over the border, you know, took the plank off the ship and decided to marry something, you know, an interracial man. They decided to do it. They had no choice. Because that's all the women they want. That's all the women they want, B, until you got nothing, until your bloodline dies, B. It's for real. We're talking about race exhaustion too. We're talking about endangered species looking at humans as an endangered species based on their genes, based on their family, right? And then completely destroying it by intermixing it with a slave. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about that in the world, right? Take Europe, take Ireland, take certain people in the world like Germany. What are those people? They're make up of 50, 30%, the country that's around them. 100%. You know, a German, maybe some Polish, maybe some Eastern European or some Northern European, some, you know, like that. That's how those are. They have a really small amount of what they're made of. You know what I'm made of? And what are Puerto Ricans? 20 motherfucking races. What is anyone from Latin America? 20, 30 races mixed into one. Old world, you know, we're talking about slaves, this and that. So that genealogical diversity is going to end up taking over the whole world. If you don't stop immigration, you're talking about killing a lion, right? Consider a lion a human. What's the gene of that? The genes of that lion is northern lion, southern lion, eastern lion at best. And then you bring another lioness or a lioness to a lion, and the lioness has a mutt, 25 races in the single lioness or the single lion. What's going to happen to those cubs? Those cubs are going to carry 25% of the whole fucking world in their genes. And that's what we're talking about here. That's what happens when you don't have strong immigration control. It's not just people, wives, generations that you're killing. It's destroying the fauna and flora and the diversity of humankind into a big pool of shit. That's what is really happening, right? If you don't have strong immigration, right? If you don't have real strong immigration, these people procreate interracially, you're going to end up with a big pile of shit. There will be places in which they will not enter. Russia, China, real hard to place, you know, where these people with 20, 30 genes, 40, 50 genes in their body will not be able to go into, right? They're going to be still pure. The government is strong enough to protect its people in a certain way that they maintain the racial, the genealogical or the gene structure of theirs forever, because they're not going to fall unless America intervenes or unless everyone dies. But that's the issue. Just like Redskins and beautiful white Puerto Ricans, they're gonna disappear. Here in New York City, beautiful white women, they're gonna disappear. And all you're gonna find is mixed with Hispanic or African American. And white Americans are gonna continue becoming more scarce, and they're gonna continue running from the hills and getting deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper south or deeper north or in Canada, because people in Canada is fucking beautiful. People in Canada still has French background, Inuit background, igloo making people, Native American, northern Native American people. They're still light, almost Asian, but pure white and blue white. Beautiful women up there. But what's gonna happen here is gonna be a shit fest. Everyone's gonna have 50 races in their blood. And then what? And then what? And then what? We're gonna be, the more people that have these lax democratic immigration laws are gonna be responsible for the fucking final person to die. They're gonna be responsible for the final lion, the final human being with this genealogical diversity to just disappear and be mixed like everyone else. It's not fair. It's not fair. It's not right for the world to be doing that to its citizens. But that's what people like doing to the world. They like spreading out. There's Dominicans in Paris, and guess who they fucking with? Nice, beautiful, close tie, genealogical ties, French, German, Ireland, right? And then what? Sticking Dominican seed in that woman and making a baby with 30 genes in France. They're out there right now. There's them both playing in the streets. They're everywhere. Hispanics colonize the fucking planet if you let them. If they find an immigration loophole, they will colonize the whole fucking planet, and they will be at the borders of the countries they cannot infiltrate. China, Russia, any other strong communist state with real strong borders, those would be the only places in which they're not going to be able to go into. It'll be the last of the remaining places with strong, the remainder of the human race, motherfucker, the remainder of pristine human race will be held in a communist stronghold in which people get shot or deported if they go into, because if not, in less than 10 years, they'll make everyone have 50 genes in their blood, 30, 25 genes. And then you take their blood sample, you check, they swab them, you check their DNA of these kids. They don't even have the 30% of the mother, 50% of the father. They just mixed 100%. There's not even a trait of what was once there, because genes are not even passed that strongly between mother and father. The only way that's possible, it's via strong ties to those nations. It's the only way you're going to get 30%, 55% Northern European. It's because many people within your family were Northern European. Many people, when we talk about great-great-great-grandfather, great-great-great auntie, that's the only way. You're not going to get 50% of one race, right? You're not going to get 50% of one race by just having a child with that woman of a specific race. It's bloodlines, right? European bloodlines, king bloodlines, peasant bloodlines, commoner bloodline, royal knight bloodlines, like in Italy, real knight bloodlines, like princesses, the real shit. It's inside those people's blood. And when you let immigration roam free, when you let a bunch of blacks and a bunch of motherfucking Hispanics in that motherfucker, people that were intermingling with slaves, and it was technically fucking forced intercourse. As you could tell, if you're a good historian, you know that slaves were given women to have sex with. Take, for example, Mandingo. Mandingo was given the entire neighborhood of black women to sleep with because the man wanted real strong slaves like him, wanted real strong children like him to continue sowing the ground. So they did that. Not only did they did that, but they had Irish slaves too. People from Ireland ended up in the slave trade. Look it up. And these people fornicated or were forced to fornicate with slaves. They had no choice. In chains, fucking with a black man, and they're from Ireland. But these ties, like I said, these genes, these races must be defended. You have to defend the fauna and flora of the earth. You have to defend the bloodline of these people, because these people don't give a fuck about your bloodline. These people will fuck whomever you're trying to fucking marry, and then when she give birth, her next son and daughter got nothing but a mix of shit in there. African, Congo, Congolese, Northern African, Ephraim brand, right? How do you call it? Jewish nomads, so on and so forth. You'll find 35 races in that kid, instead of protecting how valuable are people based on immigration. You know, if I could, I would make a 50 fence wall and start shooting. It'd be the only way. It'd be the only way to protect them. Just like in the zoo. You need to put big ass fences, put people that take care of those people within, and stop the mutts from intermixing with the pure races, because they're going to exhaust all pure races. It's already in their plan. It's already in their plan, baby. They're already colonizing the whole fucking world. And it's the most destructive. The same way Dominicans destroyed all beautiful white women and made sure that there were no Redskins in Puerto Rico, they now in Paris. And guess what's going to happen to Paris in the next 25, 30 years? Guess what's going to happen? If there was 40, 33% people with three directions, right? 3 possible genes, neighboring countries, right? You know, remnants of mother, father from 4 neighboring countries, those motherfuckers are going to destroy that race. Destroy it by sticking a black dick in that white. You know what? By looking to fornicate with people who are still pure in the planet. And they don't know. They're unknown to the problem. People in France now having to deal with Hispanics. People in Europe having to deal with Hispanics have no idea what has happened demographically, down to the gene in other places where they have been. They have no fucking idea what they do to your blood, to your genes. The second they procreate, they're not even going to gain they're not going to gain a drop of what was remaining in the mother. And the mother's going to die, and those genes will not be passed forward. All right? They're not going to be passed. You think they're going to be passed forward? Nah. Who's going to dominate? The one with the 25 fucking genes, B. The one that's been here since the time of motherfucking David and Abraham and Moses and shit. The ones that have been there for a really long time are the genes that are going to stay. And those people up there are going to lose all their biodiversity. And this biodiversity is crucial to protect. Immigration is key to protect human biodiversity. If not, Redskins disappear, beautiful Puerto Ricans disappear, beautiful Lele, La Fille, beautiful French women disappear. It all turns to shit. It all turns to shit. You see what I mean? Everything turns to shit. Because they don't give a fuck. They're not looking to reproduce with one of their kind. They're not looking to wife a Dominican bitch. They looking to slide with the first most beautiful person in front of them, and they're incompatible with that. They're destroying the world's biodiversity. I'm not talking in one incident, just one man sleeping with a very strong cultural biodiverse woman. I'm talking about hundreds of these Hispanic motherfuckers exhausting cultural diversity down to the gene until there's nothing left. Zero. Until there's no white people in Puerto Rico. None. And we were white as hell, B. We were talcum powder white. NPR, like my ass right now, talcum powder white. All of us were hella white. Where those white people go? Done. Finito. No more whites. Gone forever. Puerto Rican genealogical biodiversity, never to be seen again. Never to be seen again. Never to be seen again. Why? Weak immigration policy. It took 25 years. And France is already in the same path with Boceteo and them Beau and them cars in France. France is about to fall. The only way you can stop them is with strong immigration laws, fuck that democracy shit, protecting culture and people, putting rules into marriage and all this type of shit, right? Advocacy about gingers in the world, advocacy about strong pools of gene information in humans. Those people that have 2, 3 genes in Northern Europe, that they're only English, right? They're only from motherfucking English or Irish, and that's it. Or 2 types Western, either Scottish, Irish, and English. Those people that have really strong genealogically, that they're 30, 55%, 35%, that they're whole, is only 3. Those people have to be protected, B. Those people have to be, in the later sense, being paired with people from their genes. It'd be a really good website. It'd be a really good website. Be like, yeah, a perfect match. You want to have a baby? I want you to have a baby with these people. Why? Because you're protecting your culture, your heritage. You're protecting before it gets wiped out by an invading race, like the Moors, like the Crusaders that try to push Christianity, like the Egyptians, like the Mongols. The same thing. It's a recurring theme in the world. Recurring theme. You just lose the race completely. Like a whole motherfucking dog. Like if we were dogs. Gone. Purebred races into nothing. Bullshit. Mutts. With illnesses, with diseases, with cancers, right? And you could tell that these people live a long time too. You could tell that when they have strong foundations of gene, they live on no meat, they live from the land, they don't care about the real world, all they care about is tending their plants and their land. You could tell that there's big differences in their survival rate compared to one that's a complete fucking mutt. Like myself, because I'm pretty sure I'm a mutt inside. I'm pretty sure I am. I'm pretty sure I can't escape that. But I'm in protection of the world's human biodiversity. As a doctor, genealogical diversity. Real protections. It's needed. And we need to pair those people before you lose them. You have to pair gingers. If you're in Europe right now and you're watching my stream and you're pure ginger, please marry a ginger. Please marry a ginger. Propose to her. Try to make a relationship with a ginger. Keep these races going because you are going to lose them. We are going to lose them. And the ones that will remain are Chinese and Russian and anywhere else in which is really strong in pushing the opposition back, really strong in pushing progressive laws back, really strong in pushing back the concept of democracy, in which sacrifices not only culture, people, human biodiversity, but destroys everything you worked hard for. They'll push you out of your house, take where you live, eat where you eat, take everything, including your wife. They don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck. I hope you guys have a good night. Today, as my birthday stream, it's already the 19th. My birthday is over. I am now 40 years old. I am now 40 years old, people. It was beautiful to speak these words, but these words have to be heard. This has to be heard because I know what happens. I could see the future, B. I'm a 4D chess kind of guy. These people are going to turn violent to take what you got. They're going to turn violent to stay here. They're going to turn violent, ignoring the fact that they're relocating your ass south of North Carolina and South Carolina. Oh, and they will. They will, baby. They're going to take Washington, D.C. up to Boston. It's going to be a black and Hispanic stronghold. And you going to be dead. Your children are all going to be mixed. And then the West Coast, Texas, and the South going to light up. And they're going to have to make a big decision, a really big decision. Either we take the country back or the country's for everyone and anything that wants to come here. Invaders, terrorists, foreign illegals, foreign nationals, whatever the fuck you're mentioning. If you don't protect human biodiversity and genealogy, their genes, it's over. It's over. It's already over. It's starting in France. France genes are starting to tip. You're losing French blood already. It's already dying by tourism. You're losing Japanese blood. So much tourism, those people don't want you in that island. They don't want you there. They don't even want to serve you food. All right? They have a really big problem with immigration. They said, we're going to charge immigrants more, and we don't want them in specific areas. So Tokyo, Japan, also losing genealogical biodiversity. Ronin, ninjas, samurai, all that blood in the garbage. Thanks to people who think that they could be Hispanic and procreate with a Japanese lady. Make a child with a Japanese lady. And what they're doing is the utmost destructive power of humanity, making people endangered species. Real endangered and critically endangered species down to the gene level. Real people with really strong ties to neighboring country being taken over, replaced, relocated, killed by the invading force. By the invading force. Gone forever. Like a frog, like an animal in the forest, like the Amazon, like the coral reef, like that. And you have to think how I think to decide on what side you're on. Are you on the side of looking for a ginger mate if you're a fucking purebred ginger? You full-blown ginger boy. Find yourself a ginger woman. Embrace your race. You hella red, B. You English. Pure blood. Motherfucking royal European blood. motherfucker. All gingers were kings and queens. And this is true story. Protect your race. Marry a ginger. It's up to you to decide. The French, everyone else, the same thing. They're already falling. These pure races are going to continue to fall until everyone has 35 genes in their blood. And everyone is a light hue of dark brown. Not light brown, not caramel, dark brown, which is where Puerto Rico is right now. Everyone was white. Everyone started becoming light brown and kind of nappy. And now everyone is turning really dark. Do you see that? And that's in 24 years. That's in 20 years. And that happens based on lack of strong immigration and how beautiful Puerto Ricans were. Beautiful, blue-eyed, green-eyed. We were, Ave Maria, bombone, beauty queens, beauty pageants, Miss Universe, motherfucker. And find a Miss Universe now that's white out there and see what you're gonna find. You're not gonna find nobody. Everyone gonna be brown or caramel. And you ask their parents, where you from? I'm Dominican. I'm Dominican. I'm Mexican. I'm Argentinian. I'm this and that. My race in the garbage. In the garbage, thanks to people who don't give a fuck what country they invade and what they do to the culture they invade with no respect. Because I have no respect for them. Have a good night, everyone. I'm 40 years old now. 40, 40, 40, 40, 40. Oh, 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 40, 40, 40, 40. Oh, oh, oh. I can't escape it. I got to remind myself when I type age, not type 39, because I might stay 39. I really might. I might stay 39. Peace.